Drawing the lobster is actually pretty easy as long as you take it one step at a time. We're going to work on a sheet of paper. So if you're at home, it's a regular sheet of paper. If you're in person, it's a sheet of 12 by 18 paper. So it's a little bit longer than standard paper. We're going to place our paper in a landscape orientation, so long ways, not tall ways. We're going to fold the long edge at the bottom so it meets up with the long edge at the top. It doesn't have to be perfect, do the best you can. And give it a nice sharp crease. We're going to take the short edge and fold it to our short edge. And this will allow us to find the center, so we can unfold it once. We still want to leave it folded. Make sure the fold is facing you so the paper opens away from you. If you don't draw on the crease, that means you're going to get two halves of a lobster instead of one complete symmetrical lobster. Start by making a line on your crease in the center, let's say about an inch-ish tall. We're just eyeballing it here. We're going to curve slightly back. From the bottom right corner of your paper, you're going to eyeball about an inch, inch and a half. If you're in person and using the big paper, you can even go 2 inches. Make a little mark to aim for. We're going to make an arc from this line to that point. So we're going to start by arcing sideways. And then as we get closer to the point, let's say about 2/3 of the way there, we're going to slope down fairly dramatically and make a very sharp turn down. I'm drawing very lightly because I do have some erasing in my future. Make it a little bit darker so you can see more clearly what's going on. Okay. We're going to make a diagonal line from about this point to our paper, the crease of our paper rather. Erase the part of the slope that goes past it. We're going to come from the end of this line, draw a circle for your lobster's eye. Lobsters are very spiky, so on their shell they have several spikes. Erase the straight edge that's coming off of. And we have some spikes here as well. So let's go 1 spike, 2 spike, and then erase. Okay. For the lobster's body, there's actually another line in here. So from about this slope, we're going to sketch sideways, slope down a little bit, come down at an angle, and then curve towards the crease. So it's not necessarily a completely different segment, but there is a definite line there on the lobster. Okay. For the tail segments, we're going to start at this point. We're going to go left about an inch. We're going to curve down slightly to the crease. Do that again. Curve down. And I'm making my lines dark as I go because I know I'm going to have to for the transfer process to work anyway. 3rd tail segment. 4th tail segment. And the 5th tail segment is a slightly different shape. These are mostly rectangles, right? So for our 5th tail segment, we're going to go sideways a little bit, less than we have so far. We're going to angle down and to the left, and then into the crease. To make the actual tail flaps or flippers, I don't know what they're called to be honest with you, we're going to come out of this angle. We're going to arc dramatically out. From that same point, we're going to arc dramatically sideways. Don't go off the edge of your paper. We're really trying to use our space well with this project. From the line we just drew, we're going to make a line parallel to the first dramatic arc. So going in the same direction. We're going to curve the end of that into this line and then curve. And then this is also going to curve. Okay. We've got a tail, we've got the body, we've got the head, we need the lobster claws and lobster legs. Let's do the claws first. Coming out of the body, we're going to make our first knuckle or arm piece. So we're going to make a curve, scoot your pencil to the left, make a curve up, a little spike, and then a curve up. Make this line darker. And make a nice crescent shape connecting those two end lines. I'm going to curve dramatically. Give it a little nubbin. We got one spike, two spike, and back. Okay. For the claws are huge. It should take up most of your space. And if you're working on the larger paper in person, you can make your claws larger. Again, you don't want to draw off the edge of the paper unless you're drawing towards the crease. So I'm going to sketch a curve that comes out of this nub right against the edge of my paper, keeping it light for now, almost to this edge as well. And I'm going to stop. I'm going to come out on the other side, curve up about halfway, so about the halfway mark. Curve up and in. Make the crushing claw. So lobsters actually have two different claws. One is narrow and has very fine serrations, and one is large and has very big serrations, more like teeth or for crushing. So we're gonna make just a bunch of big wave shapes for those. Not a realistic lobster, but not a cartoon lobster. I'm gonna make the actual grasping part of the lobster claw. Also big crushing pieces. The legs, lobsters have 8 legs. We're going to draw 4 legs because when we use the transfer process, it's going to transfer across for us. So we're going to draw 1 leg segment, 2 leg segments, 3 leg segments, and 4. Make sure you don't draw the leg segments connecting to the tail. They all connect to the body. Okay, I'm going to draw the knees. Lobsters don't have knees. I don't know what this part of the lobster is called. Let's call them knees. The back 2 legs have a lower leg segment that comes to a point. You could actually draw, there's another line here because it moves, but you don't have to because it's very small. It'd be hard to make an illustration that fits in there. The front 2 legs actually end in tiny pinchers. So we're going to go sideways, make a tiny pincher, and then back to the knee. You could also draw the line there for where it moves. Lobsters have an exoskeleton, remember. So if it moves, it's got a joint or a crease. Okay. Finishing touches before we start transferring, we have to draw the antennae for your lobsters. Coming out near the eye, got a little stump shape. The antennae are quite long and whippy, so we're going to come out. We're going to whip around. Then we're going to turn that line into a shape. So following it back. You could make it a little bit thicker than they are in real life just because you know you have to put a pattern or design in it. And I can erase the lines where it goes through.